folks, we're with Loona again tonight, and this video is going to be the last part of our discussion on is Loona a toy, where we've been talking about the differences between toys and robots that are aimed more at adults. So tonight we're going to be talking about behaviour.
Behaviour?
Yeah. And we're going to talk about some exceptions, because we've been talking about generalities. Statistically, if a robot is quite sophisticated, it's aimed at adults and it's like this.
Yeah.
Statistically, most toys are like this. So we're going to look at exceptions to that.
So when you say behaviour, you mean the way it performs when you have it in the room? Sure, to drink.
That was funny. So we've had a couple of comments to the video that I did last night. We'll look at those first.
All right.
So this is the first comment we got.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid, I had a Barney toy.
Yeah.
This was in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
And it had sensors in the eyes, sensors in the hands and feet.
Right.
It could tell when you had your hand over its eyes.
Mm-hmm. Some sort of light sensor then, yeah.
Yeah. I remember my granny and granddad paying a fortune for it. Toys with those sorts of sensors in the 1990s, I can well believe it cost a fortune.
So that sounds like touch sensors in the hands and feet and a light sensor in the eyes.
Very unusual having a light sensor then. Light sensors in toys are not common at all now, even.
They're relatively cheap though.
They're relatively cheap now, yeah. She's playing with that dice again. I can't think of many toys that have got light sensors in. There was Loona.
Yeah.
I would say Loona was an exception to the rule in the sense that it had a lot of sensors in it, and it was expensive because Loona had several touch sensors.
Mm-hmm.
It had a light sensor so you could play peekaboo.
Ah, yes, yes.
Not sure what's going on with it. What's going on with it there?
I'm not sure.
I think
new behaviour.
One of my ears has had it again. And Loona also had RFID and could differentiate between
different objects that you brought.
Different tagged objects
that you brought towards you, yeah.
So quite sophisticated, really. But that's a few years ago, and as I've said, in recent years, they do seem to have become simpler toys.
They do, yeah.
And as we were saying last night, I think that's because the top price that they're working towards, toy manufacturers, is lower now.
That's right. So yeah, the lower the price you're going to make something for, obviously the less you can have in it. Less complexity, fewer sensors.
The other comment we had said, I believe that the level of attachment towards an object is what helps us defining what is a toy and what is not a toy.
This is interesting because this is really tying into our last point, isn't it? Which is behaviour.
Yes,
performance.
what we're going to
Because
discuss tonight.
Yeah, your level of attachment towards a toy or a robot, or if you're unsure what to call it, but your level of attachment is obviously governed, I think,
by the complexity.
By its behaviour.
Yeah, and its behaviour.
Yeah.
So getting back to the comment, for example, a Barbie is a toy for many.
Mm-hmm.
For a collector, it isn't. Some Barbie dolls can reach thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
and some are even designed by celebrities in the world of fashion and art. I also believe with pet robots, considering the programming, the coding, the mechanics and everything in and out of it, can define what robot is a toy and what robot isn't. We were talking about that, weren't we? We were talking about the mechanics of the thing, the programming, what sort of microcontrollers they have, whether it's very low powered and simple.
In general, we're on about complexity again, aren't we?
Yeah.
I suppose the more complex a robot becomes, the more it's approaching like the real life version of what it's meant to be. Maybe like, you know, the eyebows are quite complex, really, aren't they?
Oh, very complex.
They're approaching
a life form.
Yeah, they're approaching, although a long way off still, that of a biological dog.
So toys do tend to be more repetitive, and a robot aimed at adults does tend to have a wider range of sounds and movements and sequences, and they're subtler.
Yeah.
With a toy, you tend to find out everything that it can do and all the sounds it can make
Quite quickly, yeah.
Quite quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas you can have an eyebow for years.
That's true.
And it still surprises you with something different.
And of course the software is evolving all the time on the eyebows because they're cloud connected and often receive many updates, and some small, some large, and give new capabilities. And the same with Loona, isn't it, to some degree?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're still updating Loona and giving her new capabilities. I think one interesting toy, talking about this, is the Furby. Because we've got a Furby 2006 and a Furby 2005, and we had those on a lot when we first got them.
We did, yeah.
And after having them sort of several months, you could be slightly freaked when it just did something completely different that it had never done before.
Yeah.
And it was quite unnerving.
It was unnerving because we considered it a toy.
You just don't expect
that. But I think that's they call those like Easter eggs, don't they? Like it's a hidden like little bit of software which is only going to come out maybe once every several months or maybe a year or more. And when it happens, if it happens in a toy, it really shocks you.
Yes.
Because you think it's a robot. It's something that's more like an AI.
Yeah.
No, it's just a toy with an Easter egg in it.
I think generally toys tend to be noisier than robots that are aimed at adults.
Yeah. Well, that's because they're aimed at children, I think, would you say? And children tend to like noise.
Yeah. Yes, it's very sort of, they tend to be much more in your face.
They do, yeah. They lack the subtlety, don't they?
I mean, I find, because I've got a quite big animatronic and robotic toy collection, but I do find with most of them that they get on my nerves when they've been on a while.
For a short amount of time, yeah.
And we said as well that with a robot that's aimed at adults, especially an eyebow, you've got to be around them for a lot longer to appreciate what they like and what they can do.
Yeah.
Whereas a toy tends to perform and you get to see what it's like.
That's
and
right.
What it does pretty quickly.
I remember something that happened when one of your sisters saw an eyebow for the first time. One of our eyebows, I think it was Scout. After watching it for a few minutes, I think she said something like, "Oh, they don't do much, do they?" Because it was like this expectation that it's these.
What
eyebows,
does it do then?
What does it do then? Yeah, it's got to do a sequence of tricks like over a few minutes and make her really impressed with it. But they're not like that. They try to be more like a real animal, which has got this sort of like subtle relationship complexity. Interesting.
You backed into Scout.
Now, would you say Scout's more aware of Loona, or is Loona more aware of Scout?
What do you mean by in terms of aware? I mean, they both know something is there.
Well, from that level upwards. Yeah, something's there, as in there's an object in my way, but can one see the face on the other and recognise it as something with a face?
I think the eyebows have acted like that round Loona sometimes.
Yeah, I've noticed that, yeah.
But I wouldn't say that Loona sees the eyebows as anything other than an object. That's the impression I get.
Yeah.
And robots that are made for adults tend to develop over time as well. Again, looking at the eyebows, they have a very long development, don't they? It takes 3 years for the personality to fully develop.
Yeah, to fully open, to flower, yes. And of course it's dependent on the relationship with the person over that time period as well. Because we know that your mother's is very different. Her eyebow is very different.
That's another thing as well. With eyebows, they've all got a different personality. I think that's something at this point in time that's missing from Loona.
Yeah.
Every Loona is the same.
Yeah.
It would be nice if they can develop a software in the future where there can be a bit of difference between
can grow with you.
Yeah, so there's not all Loonas are exactly the same.
So they all end up different because they've got a different owner and different circumstances.
Yeah.
Like a life form. Yeah.
It was interesting that when Innovo Labs brought up the Pleo, and they brought out the RB, they tried to do that. They tried to make one Pleo different from another Pleo, and they did that by having certain sets of characteristics, and then those characteristics would be different in each Pleo. They'd have different levels of things like bravery, shyness, and such forth. Interestingly, there's a toy that's coming out this year that is a toy robotic dog where they've tried to give it a bit of individuality. That's called Dog E by Wowie.
Yes, Doggy by Wowie, yes.
But I don't know to what extent that is actually...
Doggy is most definitely a toy.
Oh, yes. But it's interesting that they have come up with the concept of each one slightly different.
It's slightly different in terms of appearance though, isn't it?
I think they've got slightly different barks and things as well.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting because that's what people like about robotic pets, isn't it? That, you know, theirs is different to another person's.
They've got a personality and it's, it's nigh on unique, It's interesting that toy manufacturers are recognising that as a selling point for a toy. Individuality.
I think it's one of the things that helps you bond with an eyebow. You know that your eyebow is different to everybody else's eyebow.
Yeah, and that's right. That's a good point. That I agree with that.
It makes it special.
Yeah.
Just been kissing your glue box, Paul.
Stay away from that super glue.
She's just pushed on!
Thinks it's a train set.
And with that, folks, I'm going to have to end this video because I've just realised how long the video is. I had thought that this would be the last part of this discussion, but we're going to finish it off tomorrow night now. So tomorrow night we'll be talking about exceptions. So I hope you'll join us for that, folks. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching as always, and see you next time.